Yes, Minister, I think this is a very serious issue. And I attended at a protest in Galway, a very civilised protest a few weeks ago. And they asked us to ask you, as a member of the government of the UN Security Council, to call on the Islamic Republic of Iran to immediately stop use of lethal force and unlawful suppression, stop subjecting Iranian citizens to torture or cruel, inhuman or degrading treatment, and to stop unlawful and arbitrary arrests and detentions. And of course the figures are rising. Some of them have been already mentioned by Deputy Howlin. 410 protesters have been killed, and I know there's a caveat on those figures because they're higher. 58 children have been killed in the unrest, and over 17,251 people have been arrested. According to media reports, in November, 6 of those detained in the protests have been issued with death sentences, and this is expected to rise. Iran executes more people annually than any other country, apart from China, although I understand that Saudi Arabia in the last week has executed 17 people. My time is up and I come back.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, first of all, because I was concerned at what we were all seeing on our phones and television screens in relation to what was unfolding in Iran, I requested that the Iranian ambassador come in to explain what was going on in his country. And to express my concern and condemnation for what I thought and what I still think is a very violent response by police to predominantly peaceful protest. What he said was that some of the protests were not peaceful. They had a responsibility to restore order to their streets and their cities. And that's what they were trying to do. I have to say that I found that explanation less than credible, given the age profile and the behaviour of many of the protesters, who were children and girls and students, and so no country should be looking back at the management of protests and the death of nearly 60 children in an effort to restore order. So it was a straight discussion, and I hope I expressed the concern and revulsion and condemnation of this House in terms of some of the images that we've seen. I also asked him about the supply of drones to Russia. In the context of some of the imagery that we've seen, that certainly from an EU perspective, I understand is part of a body of evidence that is convincing, in my view, that Iran has supplied drones to Russia that are now being used to target civilians and civilian infrastructure. He gave me a very clear rejection of that, saying that Iran has not provided drones to Russia before this war or during it. Since that meeting, I understand that Iran has accepted that they have supplied some drones, a limited number, to Russia in advance of this conflict. So it was a necessary blunt discussion, I think, to express our concern at I think what is a shared criticism in this House of how Iran is behaving in terms of responding to legitimate protest in its own country, and of course the supply of weapons that have been directly targeting civilians in Europe.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Howard.
I think the Minister is right in his contention that no reasonable person would say that the death of a 9-year-old or the death of 58 children could anyway be justified by the restoration of order. The last point the Minister has told us, basically, that in that interaction with the ambassador, he was told falsehoods. That is very worrying. Have you summoned him back since that to ask him to correct and to give you accurate information? Because the role of an ambassador surely is to ensure that the presentation that is given to a host country where he has diplomatic status is factual, at least. And can I ask the Minister what the next actions he proposes to take to deal with what is ongoing today, a protest movement that is subject to a brutal suppression, including the use of lethal force?
Deputy Connolly.
I welcome the fact that the Minister has called in the Ambassador and spoken to the Ambassador, but since then we've all got a briefing document from the Ambassador which clearly contradicts what we're being told on the ground. That's the briefing document. Has your attention been brought to that? We all got it this week. And then in relation to the Human Rights Council, I understand there'll be a special session in relation to the deteriorating human rights situation in Iran on the 24th of November, and that we have observer statuses at that, will be represented at that. And then in relation to the UN Commission on the Status of Women that have been called by countries, including America, to have Iran removed from that. Now, I certainly don't agree with that straight up, because Afghanistan is represented on that, and other countries that have a terrible record in relation to how they treat women. So have you a viewpoint in relation to that? And just generally to finish, going back to the first question in relation to Palestine, I think we need to have a credible, consistent approach in relation to all countries when they breach human rights law, and that is extremely important. Now, I took back the weasel words. They're not necessary, I shouldn't have used them, but we do need a consistent voice, and we are not consistent.
Minister.
Well, on Palestine, which we often talk about here, Deputy, I think we are pretty consistent, actually. I think Ireland is one of the most consistent countries in the world in terms of what we say about Palestine. Certainly, I've tried to be for the 5 years I've been in this job, in terms of my very clear criticism of settlement expansion, of demolitions, of forced evictions, my criticism of the human rights situation that is allowed to continue in Gaza, my strong criticisms of the targeting of civilian infrastructure in Gaza when that's happened, as well as, of course, rocket fire out of Gaza, which I've been also very critical of. You know, I've travelled to Israel and Palestine many times in those 5 years. So I'd like to think I am being consistent there, and we will continue to be, I hope. You know, as I say, my involvement with Iran has been an unusual one in recent years because of the specific responsibility around the JCPOA and the Security Council, which has allowed me to have many more conversations with actually 2 consecutive Iranian foreign ministers than I would normally ever have. And that has allowed me to have very direct conversations in relation to more recent concerns. What happened in relation to the meeting with the ambassador was that he gave me a written document in relation to the official response from the Iranian government on the accusation of Iranian supply of weapons to Russia. So to be fair to him, he just handed it over. And that is in many ways the role of an ambassador. Of course we have challenged that the accuracy of that document since then. Just finally on the Human Rights Council, yeah, we have been very supportive of actually having a debate on the 24th on the Human Rights Council in relation to the developing situation in Iran.